The arrival. The sleek silver shuttle glided through the star-studded expanse, its destination a massive space station that hung like a jewel against the inky black of space. Inside, Zora Chen took a deep breath, her dark eyes fixed on the approaching structure. As Earth's first official representative to the Galactic Council, the weight of humanity's future rested squarely on her shoulders. Approaching Nexus Station, the AI pilot announced, "Prepare for docking procedures." Zora smoothed down her navy blue uniform, adorned with a simple Earth insignia, a stylized globe with a single leaf. Her short black hair was neatly combed, and she wore minimal makeup. She wanted to present a professional, no-nonsense image to the alien diplomats she was about to meet. As the shuttle maneuvered into a docking bay, Zora couldn't help but marvel at the diversity of ships surrounding her. Vessels of all shapes and sizes, some organic-looking, others impossibly geometric, filled the massive hangar. It was a stark reminder of just how small humanity's place in the universe truly was. With a soft hiss, the airlock opened, and Zora stepped onto the station. The gravity felt slightly off, a touch lighter than Earth standard, and the air carried a faint, unfamiliar scent. A tall, willowy being with iridescent skin approached her, flanked by two robotic attendants. "Welcome to Nexus Station, Ambassador Chen," the alien said, its voice melodious and without a discernible mouth. "I am Salthan, your liaison to the Galactic Council. We are honored to receive Earth's first emissary." Zora bowed slightly, remembering her briefing on alien customs. "The honor is mine, Salthan. Earth is grateful for the opportunity to join the galactic community." As they walked through the station's winding corridors, Salthan briefed Zora on the upcoming proceedings. The Galactic Council, comprised of representatives from over 1,000 spacefaring species, would formally review Earth's application for membership. It was a process that typically took years, but humanity's rapid technological advancement had fast-tracked their case. "I must warn you," Salthan said, its skin shifting to a deeper blue, "not all council members are in favor of Earth's inclusion. Some fear your species' potential for violence and rapid growth." Zora nodded, unsurprised. "We understand their concerns. That's why I'm here, to show that humanity is ready to be a responsible member of the galactic community." They entered a vast chamber, its high ceiling adorned with holographic representations of distant star systems. Hundreds of alien delegates occupied tiered seating, their murmurs creating a cacophony of clicks, whistles, and rumbles. Zora felt a mix of awe and trepidation as she took her place at the speaker's podium. The council speaker, a being of pure energy contained within a translucent sphere, floated to the center of the chamber. Its voice resonated throughout the room, bypassing the need for audio translation. "Esteemed delegates, we convene today to consider the application of Sol 3, known to its inhabitants as Earth, for membership in the Galactic Council. Ambassador Zora Chen will present humanity's case." Zora took a deep breath and began her carefully prepared speech. She spoke of Earth's history, its struggles and triumphs, and humanity's desire to learn from and contribute to the galactic community. As she talked, she noticed some delegates leaning forward with interest, while others seemed dismissive or even hostile. Suddenly, a commotion erupted at the far end of the chamber. A small, rodent-like alien burst through the doors, its fur singed and eyes wide with panic. "Attack! The outpost on Epsilon Eridani has been attacked," it squeaked, collapsing to the floor. The chamber erupted into chaos. Delegates shouted questions and accusations, while others rushed to aid the injured messenger. Zora stood frozen at the podium, her carefully planned introduction forgotten in the face of this unexpected crisis. Salthan appeared at her side, its skin now a pale, sickly green. "This is most unfortunate timing, Ambassador Chen. Epsilon Eridani is near your solar system. Some may view this attack with suspicion." Before Zora could respond, the council speaker's voice cut through the din. "Silence. We must address this crisis immediately. Ambassador Chen, please remain." Your insights may be valuable as we investigate this attack. As the chamber settled into an uneasy quiet, Zara realized that her mission had suddenly become far more complicated. She was no longer just advocating for Earth's membership. She now had to prevent a potential diplomatic disaster that could doom humanity's chances before they'd even begun. The next few hours were a blur of emergency meetings and frantic communications. Zara found herself in a secure briefing room with the Council's Security Committee, reviewing the scant information available about the attack on Epsilon Eridani. The outpost was completely destroyed. A bulky, exoskeleton-clad alien reported, its mandibles clicking in agitation. No survivors found yet. The weapon signatures are unusual, unlike anything in our database. A susurrus of worried whispers filled the room. Zara felt the weight of suspicious glances upon her. She knew she had to act fast to prevent Earth from becoming the prime suspect. "Counselors," she said, standing up, "I understand your concerns, but I assure you, Earth had nothing to do with this attack. We've barely mastered interplanetary travel, let alone developed weapons capable of such destruction. However, we're willing to assist in any way we can with the investigation." The security chief, a being composed of interlocking crystalline structures, turned its faceted gaze upon her. "And how exactly could Earth assist, Ambassador Chen? Your technology is centuries behind most council races." Zara smiled, recognizing an opportunity. "What we lack in technology, we make up for in creativity and determination. Humans have a long history of solving complex problems with limited resources. Give us access to the data, and I promise we'll find something your advanced systems might have missed." There was a moment of tense silence, broken by the council speaker. "Very well, Ambassador Chen. You'll be granted limited access to the investigation. Consider this a test of humanity's potential contribution to the Council. But be warned, if we find any evidence linking Earth to this attack, the consequences will be severe." Zara nodded sullenly. "Understood, Speaker. We won't let you down." As the meeting adjourned, Zara felt a mix of anxiety and determination. She had just volunteered humanity for a monumental task, solving a crime that had the entire Galactic Council baffled. But she also recognized this as a chance to prove Earth's worth and secure its place among the stars. Walking back to her assigned quarters, Zara's mind raced with the challenges ahead. She needed to assemble a team, analyze alien data, and navigate the complex political landscape of the Council, all while trying to prevent an interstellar incident that could isolate Earth forever. As she reached her room, a message flashed on her comm device. It was from Earth's mission control. "Situation critical. Unidentified ships approaching solar system. Possible connection to Epsilon Eridani attack. Await further instructions." Zara's heart sank. The stakes had just gotten even higher. Now, she wasn't just fighting for Earth's place in the Galactic Council, she was fighting for its very survival. "To be continued," he accusation. Zara's fingers flew over the holographic interface, sifting through the mountain of data on the Epsilon Eridani attack. Her makeshift office aboard Nexus Station had become a hub of frenetic activity over the past 48 hours. Discarded food containers and empty stimulant packets littered the room, evidence of her relentless work. A soft chime announced an incoming transmission. Zara's heart raced as she accepted the call, and the tired face of Admiral Jenna Reeves, Earth's military liaison, materialized before her. "Ambassador Chen," Reeves said, her voice taut with stress. "The situation has escalated. Those unidentified ships, they've taken up positions just beyond Mars' orbit. They're not responding to hails, but they're not making any aggressive moves either." Zara rubbed her temples, fighting off a headache. "Any match to known Council species?" "Negative. Their design is, well, it's like nothing we've ever seen. The Council's database has no record of them either." A cold dread settled in Zara's stomach. "This can't be a coincidence, Admiral. First the attack, now these ships. Something bigger is at play here." Before Reeves could respond, the door to Zara's office hissed open. Zolfan glided in, its skin a turbulent swirl of dark colors. "Ambassador Chen," it said, its melodious voice tinged with urgency. "Your presence is required in the council chamber immediately. There have been developments." Zora's eyes darted between Zolfan and the holographic image of Admiral Reeves. "I have to go," she told the Admiral. "Keep me updated on any changes. And Jenna, be careful." The transmission ended, and Zora hurried after Zolfan, her mind racing. As they approached the council chamber, the alien liaison turned to her, its skin now a deep, foreboding purple. "I must warn you, Ambassador. The mood in the council is volatile. Prepare yourself." The doors swept open, revealing a scene of barely contained chaos. Delegates shouted over each other, gesticulating wildly with appendages of all shapes and sizes. At the center of it all, the council speaker's energy form pulsed erratically, struggling to maintain order. Silence. The speaker's voice boomed, finally quelling the uproar. All eyes turned to Zara as she took her place at the podium. The council speaker's form stabilized, focusing its attention on her. "Ambassador Chen, grave accusations have been leveled against your species. New evidence has come to light regarding the attack on Epsilon Eridani." A holographic display flickered to life in the center of the chamber. It showed grainy footage of a sleek, unfamiliar ship firing upon the outpost. As the recording zoomed in, Zara's blood ran cold. There, barely visible on the hull of the attacking vessel, was a familiar symbol, the stylized globe and leaf of Earth. Gasps and angry mutters rippled through the chamber. Zara gripped the edges of the podium, her knuckles white. "This is impossible," she said, her voice steady despite her inner turmoil. "Earth doesn't possess this level of technology. This has to be a fabrication." The security chief's crystalline form shimmered as it spoke. "The footage has been authenticated by our most advanced systems. The evidence is irrefutable." "Then your systems are flawed," Zara shot back, her diplomatic composure cracking. "Earth is barely capable of interplanetary travel. We couldn't have built a ship like that, let alone attack a council outpost." A reptilian delegate rose, its scales flushed with anger. "Perhaps your kind has been deceiving us all along. You claim to be primitive, yet mysterious ships appear in your system. You deny involvement, yet your insignia is clearly visible. The humans must be held accountable." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the chamber. Zara felt the situation slipping away from her. She needed to act fast. "Counselors, please," she implored, "think logically. If Earth possessed such advanced technology, why would we announce ourselves to the galactic community as a developing world? Why would we mark our secret warships with our official emblem? This doesn't make sense." The council speaker's energy form pulsed thoughtfully. "You raise valid points, Ambassador Chen. However, the evidence against Earth is compelling. We cannot ignore it." Zara took a deep breath, her mind racing. "Then give us a chance to prove our innocence. Let me lead an investigation. If Earth is truly behind this attack, I'll uncover the truth myself." The chamber erupted into debate once more. Zara stood firm, her eyes locked on the council's speaker. After what felt like an eternity, the speaker raised its appendages for silence. "Very well, Ambassador Chen, you shall have your investigation. But know this, Earth is now under suspicion. No ships may leave or enter your system until this matter is resolved. You have 3 standard cycles to present your findings. If you fail to exonerate your species, Earth will face the full consequences of its actions." Zara nodded solemnly. "Thank you, Speaker. I won't let you down." As she left the chamber, her mind whirled with the enormity of the task ahead. She had 72 hours to solve a mystery that spanned light years, with the fate of humanity hanging in the balance. Zolfan fell into step beside her. "That was most impressive, Ambassador, but I fear you've taken on an impossible task." Zara managed a grim smile. "Impossible is what humans do best, Azolfan. Now, I need access to all the data on that attack, and I mean everything, and get me a secure line to Earth. It's time to call in some favors. As they hurried through the station's corridors, a commotion caught Zora's attention. A group of delegates was gathered around a news hologram, their expressions a mix of fear and confusion. Zora pushed her way through, her heart sinking as she saw the headline, "The Ray King. Unknown ships open fire on Martian colonies. Earth fleet engages." The carefully constructed narrative of a peace-loving, technologically limited humanity had just been shattered. As panicked shouts filled the air and accusations flew, Zora realized that her job had just become infinitely harder. She turned to Xalthan, her expression hardening with determination. "I need a ship. Now." The alien's skin rippled with surprise. "But Ambassador, the Council's restrictions." "To hell with their restrictions," Zora snapped. "My people are under attack. I'm going home, and I'm going to get to the bottom of this. Are you with me?" Xalthan hesitated for a moment, then its skin shifted to a resolute blue. "I am. But how do you propose we leave without the Council's permission?" A sleaze smile crept across Zora's face. "Like I said, Xalthan, impossible is what humans do best. Now, how do you feel about a little creative problem-solving?" As alarms began to blare throughout the station, Zora and Xalthan raced towards the hangar bay. The fate of Earth, and perhaps the entire galaxy, now rested on their ability to unravel a conspiracy that seemed to defy all logic and reason. The game was afoot, and Zara Chen, unlikely diplomat turned investigator, was determined to win, no matter the cost. To be continued, the interrogation. The stolen shuttle cut through the inky blackness of space, its engines pushed to their limits. Inside, Zara Chen gripped the control yoke, her knuckles white with tension. Beside her, Xalthan's iridescent skin flickered with nervous energy. "Ambassador," Xalthan said, its melodious voice tinged with worry, "I've intercepted transmissions from Nexus Station. The Council has declared us fugitives. They're dispatching pursuit vessels." Zora's jaw clenched. "Can you jam their tracking systems?" "I can try, but..." Xalthan's words were cut short as the shuttle rocked violently. Warning lights flashed across the console. Zara cursed under her breath. "We've been hit. Engines are failing. Any ideas, Xalthan?" The alien's skin rippled through a spectrum of colors before settling on a determined blue. "There's a trading outpost on a nearby asteroid. It's not entirely legal, but they might offer sanctuary." "Sounds perfect," Zara grinned, adjusting their course. Sometimes you need to bend the rules to uncover the truth. As they limped towards the asteroid, a massive shape suddenly loomed before them. Zora's heart raced as she recognized the sleek lines and familiar insignia. It was one of the mysterious ships that had attacked Mars. Before either of them could react, a tractor beam engulfed their shuttle, pulling them inexorably towards the larger vessel. "Well," Zara said, her voice calm despite the circumstances, "looks like we're about to get some answers." The shuttle was drawn into a cavernous hangar bay. As the airlock hissed open, Zara and Xalthan found themselves surrounded by a dozen armed figures in sleek, black armor. Their helmets concealed any identifying features. A tall figure stepped forward, its voice distorted by its helmet. "Ambassador Chen, how convenient of you to deliver yourself to us." Zara stood tall, her chin raised defiantly. "Who are you? Why are you framing Earth for your attacks?" The figure chuckled, the sound chilling in its artificiality. "All in due time, Ambassador. For now, you're our guests. Please come with us." As they were led through the ship's winding corridors, Zara's mind raced. The technology around them was far beyond anything Earth possessed, yet somehow familiar. She exchanged a glance with Xalthan, who seemed equally perplexed. They were brought to a large, circular room dominated by a massive holographic display. Star charts and tactical overlays flickered in the air, depicting fleet movements and battle plans. The leader removed its helmet, revealing a face that made Zara gasp. It was human, or at least appeared to be. Surprised, Ambassador, the woman said, her lips curving into a cold smile. You shouldn't be. After all, we're family. Zora's eyes narrowed. What are you talking about? Who are you? My name is Admiral Evelyn Marsh, and I represent humanity's true future. She gestured around the room. This ship, this technology, it's all human. We've simply had a little more time to develop it. Solfan's skin pulsed with confusion. Impossible. Your species has been under observation for centuries. Such advancement could not have gone unnoticed. Marsh laughed. Oh, my dear alien friend, you have no idea what humanity is capable of when pushed to its limits. She turned to Zara. Tell me, Ambassador, have you ever heard of the Lazarus Project? Zara shook her head, a sense of dread building in her stomach. Of course not. It was buried so deep, even most of Earth's governments weren't aware of its existence. Marsh's eyes gleamed with a fanatic light. 50 years ago, we discovered the ruins of an ancient alien outpost on Mars. The technology we found there, it changed everything, including our understanding of time itself. Zara's mind reeled as the implications set in. You're from the future. A future, Marsh corrected. One where Earth was denied its rightful place in the galaxy. We were relegated to a backwater planet, exploited for our resources and creativity without ever being given true power. Her voice hardened, so we decided to change history. By framing Earth for attacks on the Council, Zara asked incredulously, how does that help humanity? Marsh smiled, the expression devoid of warmth. By ensuring Earth never joins the Council in the first place, we'll forge our own path, create our own alliances, and when we reveal ourselves to the galaxy, it will be from a position of strength. Zara felt a chill run down her spine. You're insane. You'll start a war that could destroy Earth. A necessary risk for a greater future, Marsh replied coldly. And now that you're here, Ambassador, you're going to help us achieve it. Before Zara could respond, alarms blared throughout the ship. A crewman rushed in, his face pale. Admiral, we've detected a Council warship on an intercept course. They'll be within weapons range in minutes. Marsh's expression darkened. It seems our time together is cut short, Ambassador. Pity. I had hoped to convince you to join our cause. She nodded to her guards. Take them to the brig. We'll deal with them after we've handled this. Interruption. As Zara and Alfan were led away, their minds raced with the implications of what they'd learned. The fate of Earth, past, present, and future, now hung in the balance. In the brig, Zara paced restlessly, her mind working overtime. Alfan, we need to find a way to contact that Council ship. If we can expose Marsh's plan, maybe we can prevent this war before it starts. The alien's skin rippled with concern. Even if we could, Ambassador, who would believe us? A tale of time-traveling humans sounds like the ravings of a madman. Zora's eyes lit up with sudden inspiration. Maybe we don't need them to believe. We just need to create enough doubt to buy us time. She glanced around the cell, her gaze settling on a small ventilation grate. How flexible are you, Zalfan? As the sounds of battle echoed through the ship, Zara and Salfan put their desperate plan into action. They had only one chance to prevent a war that could rewrite the future of humanity and the entire galaxy. The clock was ticking, and the fate of two timelines hung in the balance. Salfan's skin pulsed with confusion. Impossible. Your species has been under observation for centuries. Such advancement could not have gone unnoticed. Marsh laughed. Oh, my dear alien friend, you have no idea what humanity is capable of when pushed to its limits. She turned to Zara. Tell me, Ambassador, have you ever heard of the Lazarus Project? Zara shook her head, a sense of dread building in her stomach. Of course not. It was buried so deep, even most of Earth's governments weren't aware of its existence. Marsh's eyes gleamed with a fanatic light. 50 years ago, we discovered the ruins of an ancient alien outpost on Mars. The technology we found there, It changed everything, including our understanding of time itself. Zara's mind reeled as the implications set in. You're from the future. A future, Marsh corrected, one where Earth was denied its rightful place in the galaxy. We were relegated to a backwater planet, exploited for our resources and creativity without ever being given true power. Her voice hardened, so we decided to change history. By framing Earth for attacks on the Council, Zara asked incredulously, "How does that help humanity?" Marsh smiled, the expression devoid of warmth. "By ensuring Earth never joins the Council in the first place, we'll forge our own path, create our own alliances, and when we reveal ourselves to the galaxy, it will be from a position of strength." Zara felt a chill run down her spine. "You're insane. You'll start a war that could destroy Earth." "A necessary risk for a greater future," Marsh replied coldly. "And now that you're here, Ambassador, you're going to help us achieve it." Before Zara could respond, alarms blared throughout the ship. A crewman rushed in, his face pale. "Admiral, we've detected a Council warship on an intercept course. They'll be within weapons range in minutes." Marsh's expression darkened. "It seems our time together is cut short, Ambassador. Pity. I had hoped to convince you to join our cause." She nodded to her guards. "Take them to the brig. We'll deal with them after we've handled this interruption." As Zara and Zalfan were led away, their minds raced with the implications of what they'd learned. The fate of Earth, past, present, and future, now hung in the balance. In the brig, Zara paced restlessly, her mind working overtime. "Zalfan, we need to find a way to contact that Council ship. If we can expose Marsh's plan, maybe we can prevent this war before it starts." The alien's skin rippled with concern. "Even if we could, Ambassador, who would believe us? A tale of time-traveling humans sounds like the ravings of a madman." Zara's eyes lit up with sudden inspiration. "Maybe we don't need them to believe. We just need to create enough doubt to buy us time." She glanced around the cell, her gaze settling on a small ventilation grate. "How flexible are you, Zalfan?" As the sounds of battle echoed through the ship, Zara and Zalfan put their desperate plan into action. They had only one chance to prevent a war that could rewrite the future of humanity and the entire galaxy. The clock was ticking, and the fate of two timelines hung in the balance. The revelation: the ventilation shaft was a tight fit, even for Zara's slim frame. Zalfan, with its more fluid physiology, slithered ahead, leading the way through the labyrinthine network of ducts. "I believe we're approaching the ship's communications center," Zalfan whispered, its skin pulsing with a soft bioluminescence that provided just enough light to navigate by. Zara nodded, trying to ignore the claustrophobic squeeze of the metal walls around her. "Remember the plan. We need to send a message to both the Council ship and Earth. If we can create enough confusion, maybe we can stop this fight before it escalates." A violent shudder ran through the ship, nearly dislodging them from their precarious position. The sounds of energy weapons and explosions echoed through the metal ducts. "It seems the battle has intensified," Zalfan observed, its tone worried. "We must hurry." They finally reached a grate overlooking a room filled with holographic displays and communication equipment. Two technicians worked feverishly at the controls, relaying orders and coordinating the ship's defenses. Zara took a deep breath, steeling herself for what came next. "Ready." Zalfan's skin shifted to a determined blue. "Ready." In one swift motion, Zara kicked out the grate. She and Zalfan dropped into the room, catching the technicians completely by surprise. Before they could react, Zalfan extended its limbs, wrapping them securely around both humans. "Sorry about this," Zara said, quickly moving to the communication console. Her fingers flew over the unfamiliar controls, guided by an instinct she couldn't quite explain. "It's like I know this technology," she muttered. "Perhaps some genetic memory from your future self," Zalfan suggested, struggling to keep the technicians restrained. Zara shook her head, pushing the unsettling thought aside. She had to focus. She opened channels to both the Council ship and Earth's Defense Command, broadcasting on all frequencies. "This is Ambassador Zara Chen. I have urgent information regarding the attacks on Epsilon Eridani and Mars. The perpetrators are not from present-day Earth, but from a possible future timeline. They possess advanced technology and are attempting to alter history. Cease fire immediately and..." A blast rocked the ship, cutting off the transmission. Alarms blared as emergency lighting bathed the room in an eerie red glow. "Warning. Hull breach detected. Emergency protocols engaged," an AI voice announced calmly over the chaos. The door to the communications center slid open, revealing Admiral Marsh, her face contorted with rage. "You," she snarled, leveling a strange, pulsing weapon at Zara. "You've ruined everything." Zara raised her hands slowly. "It's over, Admiral. The truth is out there now. You can't." She was cut off as Marsh fired, the energy blast narrowly missing her head and slamming into the console behind her. Sparks flew as systems overloaded. Zalfan, seizing the moment of chaos, released the technicians and lunged at Marsh. Its malleable form wrapped around the Admiral, immobilizing her arms. "Ambassador," Zalfan called out. "The console." Zara turned to see the damaged communication array flickering erratically. Holographic readouts showed power building to critical levels. "It's overloading," she realized. "The blast must have damaged the containment fields. If it goes..." The resulting temporal explosion could rip a hole in the fabric of space-time itself. Marsh finished, her voice oddly calm despite her predicament. "Ironic, isn't it? In trying to secure humanity's future, I may have doomed us all." Another violent tremor shook the ship. Zara could hear the groaning of metal as the hull strained against the forces tearing at it. "We need to evacuate," Zara said, helping Zalfan secure Marsh. "Is there an escape pod nearby?" One of the technicians, seemingly having decided that survival trumped loyalty, nodded quickly. "2 decks down port side, but we'll never make it in time." Zara's mind raced, years of diplomatic training kicking in. "We need to contact the Council ship. If they can extend their shields around us, we might have a chance." She moved to what remained of the console, trying to establish a connection. To her surprise, a familiar face appeared on the flickering holodisplay. Ambassador Chen. It was Alfan, but not the one standing beside her. This one wore the insignia of a Council Admiral. "We've been trying to reach you. Your message." "No time," Zara cut in. "This ship is about to experience a temporal meltdown. We need emergency evacuation and containment. Now." The other Xalfan's skin rippled with shock, but it recovered quickly. "Understood. Initiating emergency protocols. Stand by for teleportation." As the room around them began to dissolve in a shower of sparks and twisted metal, Zara felt the familiar tingle of a teleportation field enveloping her. The last thing she saw before the world vanished in a flash of light was Admiral Marsh's face, a mixture of defeat and something that looked almost like respect. When Zara's vision cleared, she found herself on the bridge of the Council ship, surrounded by a diverse crew of aliens. The Axolfan she knew stood beside her, looking as disoriented as she felt. Admiral Marsh and the 2 technicians were being led away by security personnel. On the main view screen, Zara watched in awe as the future Earth ship seemed to fold in on itself, collapsing into a singularity before disappearing in a blinding flash of light. "Temporal containment successful," an officer reported. "The anomaly has been neutralized." Zara let out a breath she didn't realize she'd been holding. She turned to the Admiral Xalfan, whose skin was cycling through a range of colors she'd never seen before. "I believe," the Admiral said slowly, "that you have quite a story to tell us, Ambassador Chen." Zara nodded, feeling the weight of the past few hours and the fate of 2 timelines settling on her shoulders. "You have no idea," she said. "But first, we need to contact Earth. There's a lot that needs to be explained." As the Council ship set course for Earth, Zara knew that the real challenge was just beginning. She'd have prevented one war, but the revelations of the past day had opened up a Pandora's box of questions and potential conflicts. The future of humanity's place in the galaxy was uncertain, but one thing was clear: nothing would ever be the same again: the crisis. The council chamber on Earth was packed to capacity, a tense silence hanging over the assembled delegates. Zara stood at the center, flanked by both versions of Talfan, her companion from the harrowing escape, and the admiral from the council's ship. The events of the past few days had shaken the galactic community to its core, and now, representatives from every major species had gathered to hear Zara's full account. And that's when we were teleported to safety, Zara concluded, her voice echoing in the cavernous room. The future Earth ship was destroyed, taking with it the threat of temporal manipulation, at least for now. A cacophony of voices erupted as soon as she finished speaking. Questions, accusations, and demands for action flew from all corners of the chamber. The council speaker, its energy form pulsing erratically, struggled to maintain order. Silence. The speaker boomed, finally quelling the uproar. This situation is unprecedented. We must approach it with caution and wisdom. A reptilian delegate rose, its scales flushed with agitation. How can we trust anything the humans say now? They've proven capable of deception on a galactic scale. That wasn't us. Earth's chief diplomat protested. It was some twisted future version. A future that could still come to pass. Another delegate interrupted. How do we know the humans won't develop this technology again and try to dominate the galaxy? The chamber descended into chaos once more. Zara exchanged a worried glance with Althan, both versions. The situation was spiraling out of control. Suddenly, a piercing alarm cut through the din. All eyes turned to the massive view screen at the front of the chamber. What they saw sent a collective gasp through the room. Hundreds of ships, their designs a mix of various council races and some completely alien, were appearing at the edge of the solar system. At their center was a vessel that dwarfed all others, a massive, city-sized ship that seemed to shimmer and shift as if it wasn't fully in this reality. Admiral Zalthan's skin paled to an ashen gray. Impossible. It's the Nexus. The what? Zara asked, a feeling of dread settling in her stomach. A myth, a legend. The Admiral's voice was barely above a whisper. A ship said to exist outside of time, crewed by beings from countless alternate realities, but it was just a story, until now. The view screen flickered, and a figure appeared. It was human, or had been once. Now, it was a blend of organic and machine, its eyes glowing with an otherworldly light. Greetings, beings of this timeline, the figure said, its voice resonating with an unnatural harmony. I am Admiral Zara Chen, of the Temporal Confederacy. Zara felt her knees go weak. She was staring at herself, or what she might become in some unimaginable future. The other Zara continued, the actions of Evelyn Marsh and her crew have created a temporal crisis that threatens not just this timeline, but countless others. The walls between realities are weakening. If not addressed, it could lead to the collapse of the entire multiverse. The chamber erupted into panicked shouts and cries. The council speaker's form flickered wildly as it tried to process this new threat. What do you want from us? Zara found herself asking, her voice surprisingly steady. Her future self's expression softened slightly. Your help. The Temporal Confederacy cannot directly intervene without risking further damage to the timeline. But you, Zara Chen of this Earth, stand at a crucial nexus point. The choices you make here will ripple across realities. No pressure, Zara muttered, earning a color flicker of amusement from her Xalthan. You must unite your Earth and the Council, the future Zara continued. Only together can you develop the technology necessary to stabilize the temporal rifts. But be warned, there are those who would use this crisis for their own gain. Trust is your most valuable resource and your greatest vulnerability. The image flickered and faded, leaving the chamber in stunned silence. Zara felt the weight of countless eyes upon her, human, alien, and everything in between. The council speaker's form stabilized, turning to face Zara. "Ambassador Chen, it seems the fate of not just our galaxy, but all possible galaxies rests in your hands. What do you propose?" Zara took a deep breath, her mind racing. She thought of Admiral Marsh, of the future Zara, of all the possible paths that led from this moment. When she spoke, her voice carried a strength and conviction that surprised even her. "We stand at a crossroads," she began. "We can let fear and mistrust tear us apart, playing into the hands of those who would exploit this crisis. Or we can choose to come together, to pool our knowledge and resources in the face of a threat beyond any one species." She turned, meeting the eyes of humans and aliens alike. "I propose the formation of a temporal defense initiative, a joint task force of the best minds from Earth and every council race, working together to understand and counteract the temporal anomalies." Murmurs of discussion rippled through the chamber. Zara pressed on. "We've seen the dangers of unchecked temporal manipulation, but we've also glimpsed the wonders of a united galaxy. The choice before us is clear: unity or oblivion." As debate erupted once more, Zara felt a gentle touch on her arm. She turned to see both versions of Sultan, their skin shimmering with a mix of colors she'd never seen before. "Whatever happens," her Sultan said softly, "know that you have already changed the course of history, Ambassador." The Admiral nodded in agreement. "The path ahead is uncertain, but you have given us all hope." Zara managed a small smile, even as she felt the weight of countless realities settling on her shoulders. The real work was just beginning, and the fate of the multiverse hung in the balance. As the council deliberated, Zara knew that the greatest challenge of her life, of any life, in any reality, lay ahead. But for the first time since this crisis began, she felt a glimmer of hope. Together, they just might save not just one world, but all possible worlds. The future was unwritten, and Zara Chen was ready to pick up the pen. The resolution. Months had passed since the fateful day when the Temporal Confederacy revealed itself to Earth and the Galactic Council. The Temporal Defense Initiative, TDI headquarters, a massive space station in neutral territory between Earth and the core Council worlds, bustled with activity. Scientists, diplomats, and military personnel from dozens of species worked side by side, united by a common goal: to save the multiverse. Zara Chen stood at the viewport of her office, gazing out at the shimmering force field that protected the station from the increasing temporal anomalies plaguing local space. Occasional flashes of light marked the appearance and disappearance of objects from other timelines, a stark reminder of the fragility of their reality. A chime at her door broke her reverie. "Enter," she called out. Zalfan glided in, its skin a swirl of excited colors. "Ambassador. Director Chen." It corrected itself, still adjusting to Zara's new role as head of the TDI. "We've had a breakthrough." Zara's eyes widened. "The temporal stabilizer." "Yes," Zalfan confirmed. "Dr. Kofax and the human physicist Dr. Emerson have successfully created a prototype. They believe it can close the smaller rifts." Hope surged through Zara, but she tempered it with caution. They'd had false starts before. "Let's see it in action before we celebrate." Gather the team in Test Chamber 3. As they made their way through the station, Zara marveled at how much had changed. Species that once viewed each other with suspicion now worked together seamlessly. The crisis had forced cooperation on an unprecedented scale, and the results were nothing short of miraculous. In the test chamber, a diverse group of scientists huddled around a device that looked like a cross between a satellite dish and a kaleidoscope. Dr. Kofax, a gelatinous being with multiple eye stalks, burbled excitedly as Zara entered. "Director Chen, we're ready to begin the test," the alien scientist announced. Dr. Emerson, a wiry human woman with wild gray hair, nodded in agreement. "We've isolated a small temporal rift in the chamber. If this works, the stabilizer should close it without any adverse effects. Zara took a deep breath. Proceed. Zara awoke in the medical bay of TDI headquarters, surrounded by relieved faces, human and alien alike. The mission had been a success. The major rifts were closed, and the technology to prevent new ones was now in the hands of a united galactic community. In the days that followed, as Zara recovered and dealt with the aftermath of their victory, she reflected on the journey that had brought them to this point. From a simple diplomatic mission to the brink of multiversal collapse, she had witnessed the worst and the best that sentient beings had to offer. The future was uncertain, but it was theirs to shape. Earth was now truly part of a galactic community, and the bonds forged in crisis promised a new era of cooperation and discovery. As Zara stood once again at the viewport of her office, watching ships from a dozen worlds come and go, she smiled. The stars no longer seemed like distant, unreachable points of light. They were beacons of possibility, gateways to new adventures. And Zara Chen, once a simple ambassador, now the architect of a new galactic age, was ready to explore them all. The air crackled with energy as the device powered up. A shimmering tear in reality, about the size of a doorway, flickered at the far end of the chamber. The stabilizer emitted a pulsing beam of multicolored light, enveloping the rift. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, slowly, the edges of the rift began to knit together. The assembled team held their breath as the tear shrank, eventually collapsing in on itself with a soft pop. A second of stunned silence was followed by an eruption of cheers and congratulations. Scientists of various species embraced, their differences forgotten in the joy of shared success. Zara allowed herself a smile of relief, but she knew their work was far from over. Excellent work, everyone. But remember, this is just the first step. We need to scale this up to handle the larger rifts and fast. As if to underscore her words, an alarm blared throughout the station. Admiral Zolfan's voice came over the intercom, tense but controlled. Director Chen to the bridge immediately. We have a situation. Zara rushed to the command center, her heart racing. The main view screen showed a massive temporal rift opening near Jupiter, far larger than any they'd encountered before. It's destabilizing Jupiter's orbit, one of the officers reported. If we don't close it soon, it could tear the solar system apart. Zara's mind raced. They weren't ready for something this big, but they had no choice. Prepare the stabilizer for transport. We'll have to modify it en route. She turned to Xalfan. Get me a ship. I'm leading this mission myself. But Director, Xalfan protested, its skin flickering with worry, the danger. It's to everyone if we fail, Zara finished. I started this journey. I need to see it through. Hours later, Zara found herself on the bridge of a hastily assembled ship, crewed by the best the TDI had to offer. The makeshift temporal stabilizer, now scaled up and jerry-rigged to the ship's power systems, hummed ominously. As they approached the massive rift, Zara could see the fabric of space-time itself twisting and warping. Through the tear, glimpses of other realities flashed by, some familiar, others utterly alien. This is it, Zara announced to her crew. Everything we've worked for comes down to this moment. Whatever happens, I want you all to know. She was cut off as the ship suddenly lurched, caught in the rift's gravitational pull. Warning alarms blared as they were drawn inexorably towards the tear in reality. Stabilizer online. Dr. Emerson shouted over the chaos. But we need to get closer. You heard her. Zara ordered the pilot. Take us in. The ship plunged into the maelstrom of the rift. Reality itself seemed to bend around them as they pushed deeper. Zara gripped her chair, knuckles white, as the stabilizer fired its beam into the heart of the anomaly. For a terrifying moment, nothing happened. Then, slowly, the edges of the rift began to close, but the strain on the ship was immense. Conduits burst, showering the bridge with sparks. We're losing power, an engineer shouted, the stabilizer's overloading. Zara made a split-second decision. Divert all power to the stabilizer, including life support if you have to. But Director, Eltham protested, that cooled. Do it, Zara commanded. The lights on the bridge dimmed as every ounce of power was channeled into the stabilizer. The rift continued to shrink, but agonizingly slowly. Zara felt her breath growing short as the oxygen thinned. Just as her vision began to darken, a familiar shimmer appeared on the bridge. The cybernetic form of her future self materialized. You've done well, Zara, the Admiral said, her voice echoing strangely. But this burden was never meant for you alone. With a gesture, the Admiral interfaced directly with the ship's systems. Energy surged through the stabilizer, magnified by technology centuries ahead of their own. The rift collapsed in on itself with a silent flash of light. As Zara felt consciousness slipping away, she heard her future self's final words. The future is yours to write now. Make it a good one.